What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a Before the Battle Boilermaker edition. As you can see with our fly graphics that Coach Slate made, brought to you by the Barn Baseball and Softball Academy and Cornerstone Home Remodeling. As always, I am Jeremy the Couch Potato. Opposite side of the screen, we have Coach Slate, who send the vibes for your boy. It's been a trying week for him. He hasn't had football practice. What's
Oh
good,
man.
sir?
Yeah, man, it's been tough. First week of the off season is always tough. You know, you're thinking back to the kids you won't get to coach anymore, and then you're also thinking back to like, man, where did I go wrong on Friday night? What could we have done better? And so it's tough, man. I think I spent all week talking with football coaches, this week about, things that we want to improve for next year. And so it's bittersweet because it's, also exciting to be able to, correct some of the things that you did wrong or that you want to improve. But it also sucks when you think, you lost the game with 9 seconds left. We should still be playing. And so it's been tough, but been able to go to gymnastics with the daughters and watch them. And so it's been good, man. It's been good. It's tough, but we'll bounce back. How's everything with you, man?
We are hanging in there. Got the IT boys headed to Rockford, Illinois this weekend, not to play the Rockford Peaches, but for the Leatherneck massive tournament, lots of good competition. Speaking of high school postseason, though, good luck to the Pleasant Lady Spartans tomorrow. State semifinals. That program is a machine.
Absolutely.
Some serious talent.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I didn't realize it was the Final Four. So yeah, shout out to them, man. Good luck. Go get it done, man.
Yeah, they play tomorrow. Shelby is playing right now.
Okay.
Tiff and Calvert advanced to the state title game tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Saturday.
Okay.
So yeah, lots of somewhat local flair.
And shout out to the Olentangy Braves boys soccer team. They made it to the Final Four. They got beat by Cleveland St. Ignatius 2-1 in overtime. And so, it was a tough one. Got to catch up with a couple of the players today. They were just talking about how tough it was. And, but man, making it to the state semifinals is that's a big deal, man. So shout out to them.
Especially in that sport. Soccer is super competitive in D1. I mean, having been fortunate enough to watch my child compete at 4 state tournament at 4 state finals, it's pretty wild. And I still will tell you that I don't know that any atmosphere compares to state bowling. Intensity, like energy. I mean, you got people yelling after every shot. So, but yeah, what's probably not going to be a very energetic place on Saturday is going to be Ohio Stadium. The Boilermakers come to town. 1-7. Only win of the year is against 1AA Indiana State. I mean, looking through here, Notre Dame hung 66 on them. Oregon State only beat them 38-21, 28-10 Nebraska, 52-6 Wisconsin. They did play Illinois tough, but Illinois is kind of sliding, so I don't know that we can put a lot of stock into this. Illinois 50-49 in overtime. Oregon 35-0 on a Friday night. Excuse me. And then next week's opponent, Northwestern, beat them 26-20.
Okay.
Kind of a mixed bag, but the good teams outside of Oregon, but I didn't watch a lot of that game, but I really think Oregon was just coasting. And Notre Dame hanging 66. Like, I don't think Notre Dame's that good.
Yeah.
So when you see a schedule like that, obviously, where does your head go?
Yeah, I mean, and I think Ryan Day's done a really good job with this. But when you see a schedule like that, and what your goals are, and where you're trying to get to, you got to make sure you got that tunnel vision, right?
Yes.
You know you are the superior team. You know that you are the better team, the more athletic team. What you don't want is to have a slip up where, a game that you should dominate, you end up winning, 24-7 or 31-7, right? You should go out there and play clean, play fast, and play physical. And so you have to make sure that you're keeping, your main goals in mind. Get to the Big Ten championship, keep this roll going after Penn State. We know what we have to get to. We need to be riding high offensively and defensively these next 2 weeks going into the big game with Indiana, and then following up with the team up north after that. And so, although you're looking at the schedule, I think Ryan Day's done a really good job of they're able to put up points. I mean, they put up 50 points or 49 points on Illinois, and Illinois' defense is pretty solid.
Yeah.
And so they're capable of doing those things, but it's just really making sure that you're locked in, focus on yourself, focus on your goals at hand, and go out there and just take care of business. You can't play sloppy. You got to come out fast. And I think practice this week was probably kind of tough with that in mind. And so I'm excited to see how we start the game. If we start out sloppy, or do we just come out clicking on all cylinders on offense? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Excuse me. This is how much we love you guys. It's currently 9:45 on Thursday night, just FYI. Yeah, offensively, they're averaging under 21 points a game, giving up almost 37. It's there for the Buckeyes to get a fast start and don't look back. I mean, these guys are only averaging, let's see, on the ground, they are averaging 5 yards a carry, which is pretty impressive. 149 yards a game, but only 8 rushing scores, giving up 5 yards a carry, but 203 yards a game. So, building off of that Penn State drive, if the Buckeyes want to come out and run the ball, this could be a good place to continue some of that momentum. I mean, they're only giving up 243 a game through the air. So that right there, the run game's there. And traditionally with these teams who may be struggling, one of the things they're going to lack is depth in the trenches. So, and talent for that matter. We'll see. We'll see how they start, but I think the potential is there for a quick start on offense.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And I think, like you said, coming off the final drive, the rushing attack that we had against Penn State, which is a very good defense, you want to make sure that it's clicking as well. Coach Day already came out and said that the offensive line is going to remain the same as it was against Penn State, with Carson Hinsman at left guard, Donnie Jackson at left tackle. And so you really want to keep that momentum going with the offensive line. And so I fully expect us to come out and see Travion and Quinshawn and eventually, hopefully, James Peoples really get a lot of run in this game. We want to make sure that running game is still growing and still developing. Whatever we ran last week, let's continue to build off of that, over these next 2 weeks, so that for the Indiana game, our run game is really clicking so that we can keep their offense off the field as much as we can. And so I fully expect us to really try to establish a run. I do expect some shots downfield. You always have to work on those things with Will Howard. I was listening to another podcast today, and a lot of the people are talking about how accurate he is in the 20-yard range. And he's thrown some errant deep balls. One to Carnell Tate last week, but the one that JJ Smith was a dime. JJ just kind of stopped. Maybe he threw it a little later than he should have. But you want to see us take a couple shots downfield, because that's something that he's going to need to develop for the Indianas, for the Michigans, for the Big Ten championship, hopefully. And so the run game, though, is really what I think is going to be the driving force behind what we do on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think it's going to be a situation where you obviously want to keep everybody healthy. So the less time you're on the field, the better. So, you get out to a fast start. Obviously, with the O-line, if we get up big, it'll be interesting to see how he monitors that, because you want to keep those guys healthy, especially those guys, because of the depth issues. But do we let them get some mesh time, some bonding time. That's a position of trust, and you've got to trust the guy beside you, which we hit on last week talking about, the Hensman and Donovan Jackson thing. But Seth McLaughlin to Hensman is a new animal.
Yeah, it's definitely a new animal, which makes me think that Luke Montgomery and a few others are actually going to be the people who are the backup centers, because you want to keep that continuity if something were to happen with Seth or whatever. And so the one thing that I think is always tough for a head coach to navigate through these times is, if you do get up big, when do you take your guys out? The Buckeyes are at a point in the season now with 4 weeks left to go in the regular season. You just need to win. Yeah. Like that should be your number one goal. If you're up 35-0 in the fourth or in the third quarter and you start rotating guys in, I totally get that.
Yep.
Hanging 60 points on them, it's not going to be style points. It's not going to help you. It's not going to do those things. So I would totally understand if you wanted to get those guys out if you are up big. And so as a head coach, those are always tough things to navigate. I'm sure they've got a plan, but I also think they're just going to take it one drive at a time and just really try to execute. Sure. But it'll be interesting to see if we do get up really big, in the third quarter, who comes in as that backup center? What's that second unit offensive line look like? And I honestly, I hope we get up big, because I want to see Devin Brown get in, man. I'm not going to lie to you. I want to see him get some run. I just been thinking about that guy, seeing him on the sideline, pumped up for Will Howard at the end of the game against Penn State. It's like, okay, like this dude is truly a Buckeye. So I'd like to see us get up a little bit. So DB 33 could get some run in there for sure.
Man, I love it though. I love the 33. Speaking of quarterbacks, I forgot who Purdue's quarterback is. Hudson Card is still playing college football.
Yes, he is.
Now, I use – this is going to sound really bad, but I use the word playing loosely. We're through 8 games, and my man is 92 of 149, 8 touchdowns, 4 picks, 167 yards a game. That ain't going to do it, boys. You especially when your leading tailback is averaging 67.3 yards a game. Young man by the name of Devin McCoby, 91 carries, 562, 3 touchdowns. I mean, these guys have only scored 8 touchdowns on the ground. They just don't score a lot, as evidenced by the fact they're averaging less than 30 yards or 21 points a game. Leading receiver, Max Clare, 30 grabs, 462 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, they have shown a propensity to be able to dial up a big play every now and then. Just when I look right here on their receivers, you got guys whose longs are 62, 53, 52. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's definitely really good. This is a tough one for me, because I have a lot of respect for their head coach, Ryan Walters. I think Ryan Walters, when he was with Illinois, when he was with Missouri prior to that as a defensive coordinator, he is a really innovative guy when it comes to defense, one of those young minds who really coaches defense the right way. He's a young minority coach, and so I just have a tremendous amount of respect for him. He does a great job of recruiting the state of Ohio. He knows how important that is to building his program. But this year, it's just not been going well. And it is an extremely tough time in Purdue, right? I've been fortunate enough to coach some guys who have taken some visits there, and they all say how much they love it, right? But it's also kind of tough as well, because when they go to the games this year, they're getting beat by, a lot. And so it's just one of those tough spots, man, where, they have guys who have talent. They have guys who have capabilities. They have guys that they've recruited out of the state of Ohio, and that, the state of Ohio produces a ton of talent. But for whatever reason, it's just not coming together. I thought they would definitely be better than what they are this year. Last year they went 4-8. I thought they would see, some improvement. I don't,
At least like a
maybe
6-6.
yeah, maybe get the bowl eligible. So I don't know if there's like some underlying things that are going on there, but it's a really tough situation in West Lafayette for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and I actually was reading an interview with one of their beat guys today who used to cover OSU for Cleveland.com. And he said that, he hasn't lost the locker room. There's no drama, so to speak. It's just something's not clicking. But you hit on him being a defensive guy. They've got a couple dudes on defense. Kydron Jenkins, he's a linebacker. 5.5 sacks, 8.5 TFLs, 58 total tackles. He's from Georgia. So, I mean, they're going to the South and getting kids. And then Will Held, a sophomore, 7.5 TFLs, 5 sacks, 37 total tackles. Kind of a local kid for them. He's from Carmel, Indiana, suburb of Indy. Real nice area. But it just, he's getting guys. It's just a matter of, developing them. And then obviously at today's day and age, how many of these guys are they going to lose after this year that are their dudes because they can't pay them?
Yeah, and you're already seeing that too with their recruiting class as well. They had a Dwayne Galloway from Columbus, Ohio, 4-star kid at corner who there are a lot of people that were really pushing for the Buckeyes to offer him. I don't think that will be something that comes to fruition, but he's a very talented kid. Can, run like a deer. He's got ball skills. He can do a lot of different things. And they were able to pull him out of Columbus but he decommitted not too long ago. And so last recruiting cycle, 2024, they got I forgot his name, but tight end. He was at Chillicothe, transferred to Pickerington Central.
Yes.
I just forgot.
I'm
his
looking
name
at their
that
roster
quick.
now. Let me. But
I
find him,
they get some talent, man. And if you ever, and one of the things that I've had some conversations with some of our guys at Olentangy who have visited is they have a lot of respect for Coach Walters. He's got a lot of swagger. He really relates to the players. It's just something that the players really enjoy trying to be around. He's really working to build that up into a place that is somewhere where, you may get overlooked by Ohio State or Michigan, but you can come here and you can be a dog. And so I just, like you said earlier, I just don't know if there's something there that it's just not clicking. I hope he gets another year, but for whatever reason this year, they're just not playing at their, the best of their abilities. And, I think Ohio State's really got to make sure that they're locked in for this game so they can start out fast, put up a lot of points, and get out of there, get ready for Northwestern.
Tavion Galloway.
There it is. Yep.
But yeah, so just real quick, as we kind of scroll, you mentioned how well he does in Ohio. His freshman class last year, that they were in the top 30 nationwide. So you've got Shamar Harris from Winton Woods. You've got Coy Beasley from LaSalle.
Yeah,
Coy Beasley is really good.
He's a dog.
And then you scroll through here. They got a kid from Hoover, Alabama. Old Russ Probst's old stomping grounds. Here's one for you that I didn't think about. Owen Davis, North Union High School.
Really?
Redshirt freshman.
Okay.
Linebacker. Kid from Canton, Earl Culp, who also went to St. Thomas Aquinas. That's an interesting one. I don't know much about him, but to go to STA. Rod Green, offensive lineman from Springfield, Ohio, by way of Coffeyville Community College. If you know anything about JUCO football, Coffeyville's good. Jamaris Dinkins from Columbus, by way of Kentucky. Let's see here. Kid from Bloom Carroll, Jaden Ball, 6'5", 300-pound offensive lineman. I mean, and they hit Indiana so hard. Ryan Shackelford from Elyria. I've heard his name a little bit. Teammate of Mylan Graham's, James Hardy from New Haven. Kid from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, which is a pretty good little football area outside of Nashville. So, yeah, I mean, they've got some guys. It's just a matter of figuring it out. Unfortunately, I don't think this is the week they figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But Buckeyes are favored by 38.
Wow.
Prediction wise, I mean, I think we jump out start. I think we come out quick. But I do think we, like you said, just win. In the words of Al Davis, just win, baby. Win, stay healthy. And I'm going to say the Buckeyes roll 56 to a late garbage time 7.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's a big win for sure. I would be nice to score in the 50s. I'm not going to go in the 50s. I think we take our guys out before it could really get to that point. But I'm going to go 45-6. I think the defense holds them to 2 field goals. But I'm going to go 45-6. Buckeyes get a good win. We have over 200 yards rushing. Will Howard has no turnovers this week and a nice bounce back game. And JJ gets a deep touchdown and IGB gets a holding call. Those are the things that I am predicting to happen on Saturday.
I'm going to throw a James Peoples touchdown in there. And the only reason I think we get to 50s is because when Devin and Julian have been in, Day has let them throw the ball around. So I think Devin Brown scores a rushing touchdown. There we go. We'll throw that out there.
And he has, man. He has honestly let them really throw it around in those games earlier in the season. And, some people think that's a lack of sportsmanship, but he also has to make sure that those guys get in-game live reps as well. And so that is something that's important too. I don't think he'll be chucking it like down the field by any means.
No.
But the short, intermediate throws, making sure that they understand where their eyes are supposed to be and different things like that. But yeah, I love the DB pick, man. I'm rooting for that kid. I know it's been a tough year for him probably, but man, I saw him getting juice for Will Howard on the sideline on a couple clips I've been watching. And it's just like, man, I love this kid.
Yeah, he's the leader. He's a Buckeye. So yeah, I mean that kind of ties up the Purdue portion. I don't know if you've got any clips for us from last week.
Yeah, so I've got a couple clips. So what we're gonna do is last week we didn't get to watch any offense because we were having some technical difficulties. So this week I am only going to watch offense. Now, I want to point out a couple things before we really dive into it. Number one, Will Howard is a really good quarterback. He is the right person to be the head coach, the quarterback of this program. He's the right person for this job. Berm on the podcast daily today brought up the idea of comparing him to Joe Burrow. And that is something that can't escape my head. And not from the aspect of Joe Burrow, Heisman Trophy winning Joe Burrow, from the aspect of a true leader, his throwing motion, his running ability. Those are things that I can't unsee now that Berm said that. So thanks,
like that,
Jeremy Birmingham. I really appreciate that. You got that stuck in my head, but it's a very good comparison. I'm not saying that he's going to go win the Heisman and he's going to turn out to be this, awesome quarterback in the NFL. But from the way that he carries himself, that is who we expected Joe Burrow to be for us if he became our quarterback. And that's what he became for LSU, even after his first year there, where he had a very okay season. It wasn't his greatest season, but he was still that leader and they followed him. I see those same exact things in Will Howard. And so I really want to start out, and I'll share my screen now. I want to start out with his interception. Okay. Now, why do I want to start out with that? Because there's a couple things that I want to show that Penn State did to kind of confuse him here. Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. So, all right. So defense force him to a field goal. All right. We come back out, start to get a little bit of some momentum going. You know, Quinshon had a couple good runs. Okay. Now, he is likely scanning the defense right now. Okay. As he's scanning the defense, he's going to look and he's going to see this corner who looks like he's going to be in press man. He's going to see this guy walk down, which likely would lead me to believe that he's going to be replacing one of these blitzers. Okay. And this guy's back deep. If you initially see these things, then you're likely thinking that it could be cover one where we're manned underneath and then we've got a free safety over top. The one thing for me that would have been a dead giveaway that it's not that is the position of this outside backer. But this outside safety or outside linebacker could just be stemming. He could just be showing you that he's pressuring, and then they're going to play some sort of inside-outside technique on these stack wide receivers. So Ohio State does their motion to see if they are in man coverage. This quick motion is going to let me know if this guy goes out that they're likely in man coverage. So what's he do? He expands. My guess is that Will Howard sees him expand and initially thinks this is man coverage. This guy's going to win on the inside. What he really doesn't see is that this guy does not expand at all. He stays right here in the apex between the number 2 receiver and the tackle, thinking that it's likely man coverage. He is going to throw this slant. Okay. Now, one thing I want to point out with some defensive talk here, the coverage that they're playing is a version of cover 2. Okay. The way that I've taught cover 2 in the past and the way that other coordinators that I've worked with and worked for have taught it in the past is that if we are playing cover 2, I can't let this number 1 receiver get outside. All right. I need to be able to make him go inside. All right. It's a technique that I call dove, deny outside vertical entry. I cannot let this guy enter outside. I've got to funnel him back into the safety. Okay. If this guy runs a slant, I am making a China call. Okay. If you hear the corner as outside backer yelling China, 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 that is alerting you that something, and I don't know why we call it China. It's just something that, I don't know, I stole from some defensive coordinator somewhere. All right. I'm making a China call, and that China call is alerting this outside backer that there is a slant coming to you. You can jump it right now. And that means once I yell China, then the corner is going to sink underneath here, because if he's running a slant, it likely means that this guy right here is running a slot fade or some sort of corner route. Okay. So I'm going to sink underneath. So if he thinks he can't throw the slant, I might be able to fit that corner, but then this guy's going to sneak underneath and pick it off. So let's see what happens. Okay. Oh, China, China, China. You can see that there was some sort of call that was made, or they taught this outside backer to get your eyes to number 1 right now. If you see number 1 run this slant, you're sprinting to the slant right now. And what happens? Interception. Now, I want to say this is a terrible job by Will Howard, but the defensive coordinator in me says this is a great job by the freaking defense. This is executed at an extremely high level. Do I think Will Howard should have come off this read? Yes, because if he did, okay, I see that this guy is in the apex because you can see his eyes are right there right now. So he thinks for whatever reason he can fit it in this window. Even if he had to double pump this, okay, or pull it back down, take a look at the backside dig up top. Wide open over the middle of the field. Okay. So this is just a really good job by the defense, really trying to confuse Will Howard. All right. And they did it. They baited him into this throw, but if Will went through his progression, all right, and saw that this was some version of cover 2, he would have been able to work back to the middle of the field with this backside dig that's going to come wide open. Nonetheless, he didn't do that. They score a touchdown.
I mean, you can see him, like you said, you can tell a call was made as quickly as he broke to that ball.
And that's a sign of good defense, man. I always tell our defensive guys, every year I've been a defensive coordinator, I tell everybody this. We aren't keeping secrets on defense. We are snitching on everybody, right? We are snitching on everybody. We are the ops. We are telling everybody's business, and we are letting each other know that, hey, this is what they're trying to do. And every time you do that, it leads to good things. So good communicating defenses turn out to be really, really good defenses because they over communicate. All right. Now, the whole point of this, sorry, I really got excited about defense right there. The whole point of this is to show how resilient Will Howard is as our quarterback. I love when quarterbacks can go out and throw for 400 yards, 4 tutties, no interceptions, have a perfect game. But when you have a mess up that is on you and nobody else, how do you respond? All right, so the Buckeyes come out on the next drive, down 10-0. This is a must-score drive. This drive has to end in a touchdown. What are we going to do? Okay, so this was a play right here. I was like, oh, God, this might be a long day. This was not, Emeka did a terrible job, and he's typically one of our better blockers.
Yeah, he whiffed.
He whiffed.
That was giving me PTSD back to Urban Meyer there for a minute, though.
Yeah. So first play after the interception, it's a negative play. 2nd and 10. What are we going to do? All right. So now this time, they just line up with good spacing. Okay. They line up in doubles. JJ gets a nice, good split here because he knows he's going to be working back inside. Okay. We really kind of get the same. We really kind of get the same coverage look that we got on the previous snap where he threw a pick. But because of this split now, this guy would have a longer way to go. Okay. And also, this guy's not playing in the apex between these two, which would lead me to believe that they are actually in some sort of man coverage. All right. Now, looks like they're in some version of cover 3 here, but nonetheless, the slant route or the in route from JJ is going to be open. Nice, easy pitch and catch. Let JJ get up the field. Now we're back on schedule. Okay. Easy access throw. Let our quarterback get comfortable again. Let's take a look at the pocket here. Really not a bad job at all. Okay. Quinshawn does a really good job of taking out the blitzing linebacker. Chops him down, allows Will to get the ball out quick. One thing I love about J.J. Smith is he catches this ball and immediately gets vertical. Doesn't try to shake or make anybody miss. He just gets vertical because he knows we need a first down because this is a must-score drive. Okay, so 3rd and 1. 3rd and 1. I love that we have this in our offense. We get a little bit of the tush push. Offensive line does enough. Move the sticks. Okay, so we've bounced back. All right, we got our first down now. Maybe we can get things going. Now, this is when I knew that things might be a little different today. So we get in some sort of zone scheme here. All right. It's similar to a split zone, but this guy's working to kick out the end. All right. And now we're going to try to make sure that we build a lane for Quinshawn to be able to cut back to this side. All right. And now they do a really good job, of forcing. Seth McLaughlin does a really good job of taking this guy where he wants to go. Okay. Josh Fryer does a really good job of taking him where he wants to go. And this allows Tegra to really climb up to 13 and just get enough of him to pin him inside. And now you're going to get Quinshawn one-on-one with a linebacker. All right. We would like to see one of the linemen be able to climb to that second level, but we didn't get that here, but that's okay. Quinchon gets to the second level. He does what he does, makes the guy miss. Now we're cooking. It's a mean stiff arm, buddy.
Dude, he's so good.
He's pretty good. All right, good. Now
And
we got
the
another
first footing
down.
issue.
Yes. Oh my gosh, all over the place. Okay, so now we've got something going. Let's see if we can continue to do some good things. Now this is I love this play design because as a defensive coach, it's putting this guy in so much conflict. Okay. Originally, what are you seeing? You're seeing zone read action, right? I can almost assure you that this guy's likely taught if he gets this action, I'm taking the running back, and this guy's going to scrape over top and take the quarterback in zone read. So what's he do? He just goes flying to the quarterback because he's typically supposed to go downhill. What happens? We get the speed option outside. So great play design. The other thing I want people to notice too, look at the numbers, okay? Don't make football harder than it needs to be. If you just count the numbers to your side and see where the advantages are, you can have success as an offense. Right now, Ohio State, if you count the center, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys to this side. How many people does Penn State have? 1, 2, 3. There's a clear numbers advantage, right? Even if you don't count the center, it's 4 on 3. That is a win for the offense if you can get those type of numbers. Okay, so we've got 4 on 3. They do a good job of just getting enough. God, it's just a great play design. This view is even better. Just really putting that defensive end in conflict. Get outside. If you have a struggling offensive line, these are the type of things that you can do. All right, so now we're on their side of the field. I'm not the biggest fan of running tosses or outside zone into the boundary, all right, to the short side of the field. But the one thing that I do like that we do here, all right, we do a good job. You know, Josh Fryer does a really good job of pulling back outside. Seth McLaughlin does a really good job of pulling outside. This is typical. This is kind of like your old school buck sweep type play. But the one thing I like here is that Travion doesn't try to dance. He just puts his foot in the ground, gets vertical, go get 4 yards, stay on schedule. That's exactly what he did, and that's what you want to see. So we're on schedule, 2nd and 5. Run game's going well. All right, now, again, another great play design. We've had some success with the run game. All right, we've hit them with 2 really good runs, 3 really good runs in a row. Okay, so now we're getting some sort of play action. All right, we're faking like we're going to be tossing it out here, and we're going to show that we are looking for this right here. Okay, we're going to show that we're looking for this. We're setting up everything this way. The way that Emeka Egbuka is lined up here would show you that he's pinning, all right, to get this guy down inside. Emeka does a really good job of just sifting through the traffic. Will throws an absolute dime. We're right back in the game. Now, the reason why I bring all this stuff up is these are the things that you want to see from a championship quarterback. When you are facing adversity, how do you respond to that adversity? Will Howard threw a bad interception for a pick 6. We're down 10-0. He comes back. He executes. He does what he needs to do to lead the offense down. He gives the offensive line some confidence, I'm sure. The run game gets going well. Chip Kelly dials some simple things up for him to get confidence in his easy access throws, and he throws a perfect ball to Emeka Egbuka to end the drive. Okay? These are the things that you want to see from a quarterback. He's not rattled. He just continues to play. If Will Howard can continue to do these type of things and limit the amount of mistakes, we have a championship caliber quarterback on our hands. And I just love the leadership that he exudes. And I really wanted to highlight, everybody's going to talk about the offensive line, that last drive, all those positive things. But this was the defining drive of the game, in my opinion. How do you respond being down 10-0 in Happy Valley to the number 3 team in the country, coming off a tough game, a tough win against Nebraska? How do you respond? Will Howard responded at a very high level. So shout out to that dude, man. He's doing a great job for the Buckeyes this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing we would, be not doing our job if we didn't mention, he's doing a great job for the now number 2 ranked Buckeyes because of the CFP bracket. Well, in the bracket they're the 5th seed, but they are ranked number 2 in the rankings. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. I love Will Howard. I think that we struck gold with this kid.
I do too. I do too.
He's not going to kill you stats wise, and that's okay.
Yeah,
you win national championships with quarterbacks that play good football.
Yep,
not guys that chuck the ball for 6,000 yards.
And that's all we need him to do, man. We just need him to go out and play good football, limit the turnovers. I think he's got like 17 or 1,800 yards passing right now.
Yeah,
with 4 games left in the regular season, you're going to see him throw, probably 2,500 plus. And so he'll have over 20 plus touchdowns and he'll have a few hundred yards rushing. Like, he is what you want to see in a well-balanced team that has a dual threat at quarterback. And so, hopefully he continues this upward trajectory and he can carry that confidence that he ended the game with at Penn State. He could carry that into this week and have another big week.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I'm excited though. I mean, it's anytime we get to watch the Buckeyes, I'm excited. So, I might say it a lot, but it's the best sport ever. So we this year we might get a little more, but 12 game season is it sucks for the fans. So I'm always excited. But yeah, I mean, I think, obviously we didn't have a whole lot to dive into with Purdue, unfortunately. And next week with Northwestern, probably going to be similar. Cool thing to talk about with that game, though, the location where we're playing at. The field looks interesting, though. We'll dive into that, though. But yeah, I mean, as far as for Purdue goes, I think that's probably about all I've got. What about you?
Yeah, man, that's it, man. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm losing my voice. So that's all I got.
All right. Well, with that said, we thank you guys as always, and we will see you coach's voice pending in the beginning of the week for an opening drive.